It's 7 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. The first item, would you call a roll?
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers, Nichols, Briggs,
Yes.
Item 2 is approval of minutes. Being we're missing some board and council people, we'll pass on the approval of the minutes and go on to item 4, which is a zoning property located at 2997 South Clark Street to C2 General Commercial. Mr. Slagle.
Need a motion to open?
Motion, yeah, we need a motion to open the public hearing.
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
I second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Mr. Slagle.
Okay. Council, if you remember at the last meeting, this is the same property that we had just annexed into the city, and now we are here to hear the zoning. And to hear the zoning information, we'll turn to Rita Jackson.
This public hearing concerns a request from La Jolla LLC of Primera, Missouri to zone their property located at 2977 South Clark to C2 General Commercial. This property is located on the west side of Clark Street between Hamilton Parkway to the north and Kelly Parkway to the south. On April 9, 2018, this property was annexed into the city limits. When property is annexed into the city, it is to be designated with a zoning classification that is in compliance with the city's land use map. The current circumstances of the property is the future development of Home Bank. Section 11(1)D of the Code of the City of Mexico states, however, no general city plan, nor zoning ordinance, nor any modification, amendment, or previous revision thereof shall be considered by the City Council unless it shall have first been submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission for examination and recommendation. On January 19, 2018, notices were sent to 16 surrounding property owners and their tenants within 185 feet of the requested zoning. City staff received no telephone calls or written correspondence regarding the zoning. At the February 6, 2018 Planning and Zoning meeting, the Commission made motion to make recommendation to the City Council to grant approval of the requested zoning based on the following. The zoning is in compliance with the city's land use map. The requested zoning district complies with general zoning procedures as current land uses, known future uses, and surrounding development patterns were taken into consideration. This zoning is necessary to promote economic development and diversify the local economy. Staff recommends that council proceed with the advertised public hearing. And tonight with us, we have Thomas Nelson, with Community Bank President of Home Bank.
Thank you, Rita. Mr. Nelson, do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, sir, I have nothing at this point.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Does anyone else like to speak? If not, I move, somebody move to close the public hearing.
Okay, I will close the public hearing.
Second.
Miller,
Yes?
Williams,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Okay, item 5, new business ordinances. Bill number 2018-36, an ordinance zoning property located at 2997 South Clark and amending the district map referred to in section 42-205 of the City Code of the City of Mexico, Missouri. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor. The attached ordinance is the ordinance that would zone the property we just discussed in the public hearing to C2 General Commercial. At this point, staff would recommend that council proceed with 2 readings by title only and passage of the attached ordinance, and the ordinance has been posted as required length of time.
Thank you. Charles pleasure.
Make a motion to read bill number 2018-36 by title only.
I second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Bill number 2018-36, an ordinance zoning property located at 2977 South Clark Street and amending the district map referred to in section 42-205 of the Code of the City of Mexico, Missouri to C2 General Commercial. I make a motion for second reading of Bill number 2018-36 by title only.
Second.
Miller.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
An ordinance, Bill number 2018-36, an ordinance zoning property located at 2977 South Clark Street and amending the district map referred to in section 42-205 of the Code of the City of Mexico, Missouri to C2 General Commercial. I move for passage of Bill number 2018-36.
Second.
Miller.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Item 6, new business, resolutions. Bill number 2018-37, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign a contract document with Corrective Asphalt Materials for the 2018 annual maintenance restorative seal project. Mr. Schleicher.
Yes, Your Honor, this is part of our annual maintenance program. This portion is the corrective seal, and to cover the bids in the streets that's involved in this year's project. Kenzie? Oh, Drew's going to handle this one. Drew over. City engineer.
Good evening, council. Pardon me here. As Bruce mentioned, this is for the 2018 Restorative Seal project, and we're using a material called Corrective CRF, Corrective Restorative Function, by a group called CAM, Corrective Asphalt Materials. This is actually being done through a cooperative agreement with Moberly, and so this was bid through Moberly, and they have a section in their bidding documents which allow us to, in essence, piggyback off of their bid. So we're using Corrective Asphalt Materials to proceed with the city's 2018 Restorative Seal program. The streets on the map here, the ones in orange, are the streets that we are proposing for this year's project, concentrating mainly in the streets that are just southeast of the Ag and Liberty intersection, and then also including Breckenridge. And if you'll remember, West Breckenridge was actually on our asphalt overlay program for this year, and you may have noticed Flowmaster working over there for the ADA upgrades. So Breckenridge will see a treatment all the way from Boulevard down to Muldrow. That, in essence, is going to bring the CRF, or the Corrective Asphalt Materials contract, up to a total of $22,076.67. The engineer's estimate was $22,408.65. Being that we received, in essence, this one bid, we were comparing and contrasting from previous years. Just as a side note, the previous year came in at $1.29 per square yard. This year came in at $1.33 per square yard. So we feel that this is a fair bid. So we recommend, staff recommends continuing with reading and passage by title only.
You've never used these people before?
Yes, we have.
These
Several years past.
Okay. So these are not the ones that we did a couple years ago where it looked like you could see every imperfection underneath. We had
No, that's a micro seal. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That was a product called Onyx, and this is a different product.
Okay, good. That's all I got. I move for reading of bill number 2018-37.
I second.
Miller.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Your turn.
Okay, my turn. I move for the
Only
passage.
two of us.
Okay, I move for the passage of Bill number 2018-37.
There you go, read it.
Do I need to read it?
By
Okay,
title.
Just
thank
the
you.
title.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to sign contract documents with Corrective Asphalt Materials for the 2018 annual maintenance restorative seal project, reading by title only and passing. Would you man read that?
Second.
Miller.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Okay, item 7. A is the purchase of a single axle dump truck for Public Works Department Street Division. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor, to cover the bids received and the prices, we will turn to Kenzie Russell.
The street division has two single-axle dump trucks. They're the yellow ones that you may have seen. One of those has developed transmission problems, and the recommendation from our mechanic was to replace it rather than to try to fix it. It's a 2004 model with over 5,000 operating hours on it. We put together a bid package that was advertised. 7 bids were received. A couple of the bidders submitted more than one bid, as you can see in the tabulation in the council letter there. Columbia Freightliner Sales was the lowest bid, and we considered that it was an adequate bid at $91,285.40 net cost. That included a trade-in of our old International. We had a second bid from Freightliner as well, and then we had a bid from Quincy Mack Sales for Mack Truck, and we had 3 bids that came in through Meyer Truck Services. We're recommending that the lowest bid from Columbia Freightliner be taken. I believe Mr. Randy Meyer is here this evening and would like to speak to this item as well and explain his bid.
Thank you. Kinsey, Randy, would you like to speak?
Yes, can I go up here?
Yep. State your name, please.
Randy Myers, Myers Truck Service. Thank you all for hearing me tonight. I understand, yes, the Columbia Freightliner bid is the lower bid. The reason I'm approaching the council tonight is back to the engine side of it. What I quoted for an engine is kind of basic what the bid stated. I stayed with them in them guidelines because I felt that was the better engine for your suit, for your needs and everything in here, which that is what put me over the other bid. I could have bid a smaller engine, less than the specifications like they did on my bid, but I chose not to stay within the realm of the bid, plus the longevity, the serviceability of the unit. So that's kind of where I stand with that. Plus, Myers Truck Service is a local company. We're not in the city limits, but we feel for the warranty purposes or any repairs on the truck, they can be made a lot more faster and economical to the city versus taking the truck an hour away, which I understand what you got to do, but we feel we're 10 minutes away versus an hour. So,
Kinsey, the motor issue, tell me how that
In our bid package, we provided a listing of features, and under the engine, we had listed a 9-liter displacement with a minimum of 200 and I believe it was 270 horsepower. The Freightliner has a Detroit diesel 8-liter displacement engine with 280 horsepower. The International truck that Mr. Meyer bid does have the 9-liter displacement, and I believe it was 300 or plus horsepower, so it was significantly more horsepower.
it was 270 horsepower. 9-liter with 270 is what I bid, yes.
Yeah.
So in other words, Freightliner made the bid because they had the horsepower, but were under the bid somewhat on the liters.
On the displacement, that's correct.
And Randy's bid is liters and horsepower.
That's correct. And I would point out in the bid tabulation there that the one labeled Knapheide with the asterisk would be the lowest bid from Mr. Meyer. He had submitted 3 bids, multiple different bids, as did Columbia Freightliner.
Randy, you are aware that we have a local bid preference, but you have to be a business with a city license in the city of Mexico,
Yes,
which you do not.
right.
Although
I understand
know
that,
you-
yes.
Although I know you do have a business in the city, but not Myers Trucks.
Yes, I understand that. And that's totally understandable there. I understand that. I'm fine with that. Understand that totally. I understand how that works. My concern was the engine, the legitimacy. I could have bid a smaller engine. My truck does offer a smaller engine. And if I would have done that, yes, I would have been the cheaper bid. But I chose not to do that. I chose to stay exactly as close as I could. So,
More so than the engine, your comments about going to Columbia, as a person who has 5 tractors, one from Randy and some from Freightliner, when we have to go to Columbia, it takes 2 people, 2 trucks to go to Columbia, 2 people, 2 trucks to go back and get it. That does rack up mileage, gas, diesel, and time if you have to go to Columbia to make repairs, much more than it does to run here in town.
I think, if I'm speaking right, Kenzie, I might, what was the difference between the Myers bid?
$1,468.
That's right, I can, yeah.
That's what I had.
$468.
400.
Okay, that's what I had, yes. So,
Thank you, Randy.
thank you.
It's a pleasure to the board. You can either motion for the low bid or the local bid, sort of.
Well, here's my thought process on the situation is I don't have any specs. I don't know. There's always differences and everything. I'd feel better if I had the specs and I could actually go and look at the difference in the reviews on these different trucks, because when I got this, I just went and looked up the Freightliner Napa. I mean, that's when I went and looked. I didn't know there was going to be another option. So unless this is a huge, got to do it today, I feel like, I'd like to push it back. Let me see the specs and let me see what the deal is.
I do have the specs on my truck here if you'd like to look at them now.
Well, I don't have the specs for all the.
Okay.
I don't have no specs.
Were all the specs met per your bid request?
Yes.
Except-
Both trucks are using exactly the same bed from Napai. The only difference basically is in the engine.
And the Freightliner engine has the horsepower, but not the liters. But you considered that to be okay.
Yes, sir.
And Randy's has the horsepower and the liters that were requested.
Yes, sir.
So the reason you decided on $1,400 less was because it was less cost?
Our purchasing policy is for the lowest and best bid, and we considered that the Freightliner did meet our request, so that was the lowest bid, and that's why we're making that recommendation.
Okay, so that's, you're following policy is what I'm saying.
And that was the conversation I had with Randy Friday, and I understood where he was coming from. And my point was to him is that he was welcome to come tonight and explain it, and that from a staff point of view, we had to follow the policy and present based on policy. And if you felt differently based on the specification, that was a decision you could make, but we could not recommend that.
Of course, if we made a decision, then that would just make everything every time we had a bid sort of up for grabs.
Discussion. And I will say this about the warranty. The one thing I have learned about this in the city is that warranties don't mean a whole lot, because then I will take the tractor, for example, that we bought a couple years ago for the Parks Department, and warranty was out before even a year because they get so much usage on this equipment. So, I hear the warranty, and that's why I asked about the warranty, but then when I asked, it's like, oh, that's like, it's like been 6
Standard
months.
warranty.
What do you mean? Yeah, but we use it so much, so.
Well, I sure love local bids.
I agree.
I understand. And again, I will reiterate, as a person who has to take a truck to Columbia fairly often, it is a tremendous expense, 2 men, 2 trucks. Over an hour, back an hour, over an hour, and back an hour just to get it here and there. But it's a pleasure to the board to either make a motion for a low bid or the next low bid, or you ask us to do this quickly because it won't be here until January, so
That's correct.
the pushback is...
The lead time from all of the bidders was pretty extensive. It is a little bit shorter on the international truck than it is on the Freightliner.
Well, I'll make the motion, and then we can decide how we're gonna. I move to approve the purchase of the single-axle dump truck for the Public Works Department Street Division from Columbia Freightliner Sales of Columbia, Missouri, in the bid amount of $91,285.40, or why is it in? Excuse me.
That was, that is your choice to put in which vendor you wanted in there.
Oh, so this represents the two different. I'm sorry, guys. There's something on here I didn't.
It is a note for you to know how to do the action, the motion, and then you can fill in the blank. So those were your two choices. It was either from the Freightliner or you would do the.
Or the Myers truck, which we've discussed, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, let's start with the one we have, and then we'll see what happens. Napida Truck Equipment of Jeff City, Missouri. Is that right? Read the rest of it. Submitted by Myers Truck Services. Is that correct?
You choose.
You got to choose one of the.
Okay, that's two different things. Okay, the amount of $91,285 submitted by Napida Truck Equipment of Jeff City.
That one would be Columbia Freightliner.
Columbia Freightliner.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is your motion to.
That's the motion.
From Columbia Freightliner Sales. Okay. I need a second on that one.
I can't.
I'm still, I don't want to turn away local business, and I feel better if I could research till the next meeting. This is how I
You
feel.
always second and want to vote down the motion. When they give you the vote,
Well, then I don't want to vote against them because I don't really know. Like,
I'll second the motion.
Miller,
No.
Williams,
no.
Briggs,
No.
Okay.
I can vote against my own motion.
Sure you can. The floor is open again for another motion, or else we postpone.
I'll make the motion. Can I make another motion? Okay. I move to approve the purchase of the single-axle dump truck for the Public Works Department Street Division from, now do we go to Myers Truck Services?
Napahide Trucking Equipment.
Myers Trucking Equipment in the bid amount of whatever they bid here.
92,753.40.
That amount. Okay.
I'll second that.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is purchase or replacement of playground equipment for use at Fairground Park. Mr. Slager.
Yes, Your Honor. As the budget allows for the replacement of playground equipment for Fairground Park, Parks Department has reviewed all the proposals that come in. The Parks Board has looked at those and has a recommendation. And to cover that, we will turn to Chad Shoemaker.
Thank you, Bruce. Good evening. So requests for proposals were sent to 7 vendors, and advertisements were placed in Mexico Ledger to accept proposals for the replacement of playground equipment at Fairground Park. The 2017-18 annual budget allows for $60,000 for the purchase of replacement playground equipment. We received 12 proposals from those 7 vendors. They were all within the budgeted amount. A tabulation of those costs for the proposals is attached to your packet. The proposals were reviewed and assessed first by staff. We eliminated 2 of the 12 because of concerns about materials in those particular playgrounds and graffiti issues. And the other 10 went to a committee composed of the park board members and park staff. All those proposals were put out in front of that group, and we did a series of cuts of all those proposals, and this is the proposal that rose to the top and was selected unanimously as the best proposal. The Park Board Committee unanimously, those members approved that at their May 7th meeting, which was held immediately after the normal Park Board meeting. Staff is recommending that council approve the purchase of replacement playground equipment from Hutchinson Recreation and Design of Troy, Missouri for the price of $60,000. And a note as to the amount of material you see here for that value. This vendor often has a advantage when bidding on our playgrounds because a lot of the original playgrounds put in 20, 25 years ago were from this company, and every time they replace equipment, they're getting older equipment off the site that has significant liability because it's of past designs of the very oldest liabilities. So that's one of the reasons that often we'll see this company come in with significantly more equipment than other vendors for the same price.
Are we saying there's more equipment there at their $60,000 than there is at the $56,000 somebody else bid?
So the direction on these proposals is to spend the $60,000 because the price is not considered in the assessment of these bids. Not everybody can make it come out. Even some of the vendors have more design staff available to them than others and better lead times. And what we usually find is the ones that have those like $4,000, $5,000 gaps are the ones that don't have as much design staff, and their design staff's just getting something to them in the bid period, and they're usually not the best proposals you see. What we judge them on is safety, play value. Does it fit the site? Does it meet the goals of that particular site? Because everybody should be bringing us the same dollar. That's why we have it submitted this way.
So again, they all have the same amount of equipment?
No. There is big differences in the amount of equipment.
That's what I was trying to do.
I'm sorry, Chris. They're allowed to design whatever they think is the best.
They can do for $60,000.
Is the best equipment within their portfolio, correct?
Okay. So then you took the $60,000 ones and decided which was the best?
We considered all of them,
Okay.
except for the two I mentioned earlier that, we have stipulations in that they shouldn't include cabins, they shouldn't include large expanses of plastic. We want parts to be, stainless steel fixtures. There's a whole list of things that they have to meet, ASTM standards. And if anybody doesn't meet those needs that we put in those, they get cut out before the consideration portion.
Questions?
It's going to be busy in fairgrounds. I move to approve the purchase of replacement playground equipment for the Fairgrounds Park from Hutchinson Recreation and Design, option B, in the bid amount of $60,000.
Second.
Miller?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Next item is the appointment of the Mexico Audrain Library Board. Mr. Schlegel?
Yes, Your Honor. Dave Nurendorf has resigned his position on the board, and that is a term that is set to expire July of 2020. We did receive only one application for consideration, and that was Rosalind Dial. They expressed an interest to serve, so we'd make the recommendation to appoint Rosalind Dial to fill that term.
Make a motion to
Rosalind Dial.
appoint Rosalind Dial to the Mexico Audrain Library Board.
I second the motion.
Miller?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Next item is a motion to hold a work session and second regular meeting of the month on Tuesday, May 29th, 2018, due to the Memorial Holiday on Monday, May 28th.
I make a motion to hold the meeting on May 29th.
I second.
Miller?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Next item is payment of the claims.
I make a motion to pay the bills.
I second.
Miller?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Next item are comments. We begin with the council, and we begin with Mrs. Briggs. you have any comments for us?
Comments? Well, I noticed tonight is the auditions for Annie, and maybe that's where Yanni is, I don't know. But in any case, it just boggles me to see how much success our Performing Arts Center has. And I looked at their summer programs, and it certainly is remarkable.
Mr. Williams?
Any damage that you know of around town that we had to take care of? Just off the hand, I mean, it just happened, but.
We did call out crews. Last time I checked with our street superintendent, we had 12 locations with limbs and or trees that were in the street. So we're pushing those to one side. Tomorrow we'll start the cleanup.
And then I would ask in the future, when we have a situation like this with the bid process, please include the specs. I know that you're talking about an engine, but there's a lot more to an engine. There's torque in a transmission. There's lots of things. You can say, I bet if I put that truck in another truck, there's going to be more than just the engine that's different. There's going to be different ratios. There's going to be stuff. Especially if we know there's going to be an issue, and then I would just prefer if we have that information in the future. That's it.
Chad, you got some trees down too. You got a big one in the park.
Yeah.
Big.
We'll be working on it for several days.
Yeah. Mr. Slagle?
Don't have anything else at this time?
Well, I don't know that I do either, except it's a range family, but it's a little bit windy while it rains. Do what?
Way windy.
Way windy. And we have a new McDonald's inside, so that's a big deal in town.
Yeah. It didn't get blown away, just part of our roof.
Part of my roof did too. Next item are public comments. If you would like to make a public comment, we ask you to come to the podium, state your name and address, and try to hold your remarks for 3 minutes. Mr. Tom Nelson.
My apologies for not coming forward earlier during the discussion and approval of the zoning of the property that you took care of this evening. But just a brief thank you to all the city staff and personnel, and to the council, and to the Planning and Zoning Committee as well, for their vast help and cooperation in allowing La Jolla Savers and ultimately Home Bank to be able to come to the city and to help grow what we feel will benefit everybody involved. So thanks to all of you.
Thank you. You have his name there, Marcy? Tom Nelson, okay. If that's all, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm out.